How are you going, my friend?
Going great, man. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
I just realized that your background is different.
I know, because my house is different, man.
That's right. Yeah. So congrats.
Oh, thanks, man. It's been a hectic ride, but we are here now, and yes, it's my new background, my new music room, and it's about half the size of the previous one, but it'll work.
Yeah, I love the guitars.
Yes, guitar.
Good touch.
My Schecter guitar and my Schecter bass from good old times.
And nothing like a Schecter.
That's it. Oh, yeah, you got one as well.
Yeah, you sold it to me, man. Yeah.
I know.
I'm in your debt.
Long time ago. How have you been anyway, man? It's been, how long has it been since we had the last chat? About a month or something, I think.
Yeah, I think when we talked, were we just doing the auditions for the opera? I don't know if it wrapped up or if we were just in the midst of it. I can't recall, but yeah, that's I think the last time we talked, and we're now actually in production. We're doing a vocal workshop, and it's fantastic. A lot of fun.
Wow. So what?
It's so busy that I actually had to make special time just to have some time to talk to you.
Oh,
it's
man.
full on.
I'm honored. Thanks so much, man.
It's worth it, man. Well, talking about myself, of course.
I like it.
Kidding.
I like it. So how's everything been? Like just before we went live, you were telling me that you had a pretty hectic day yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's starting to become the norm. Like, I think I can expect now for the next month to probably do at least 12 hours a day. But sometimes it's more. Yesterday, I think it was about 15 hours. And there's just so much work to do. And we want to, I'm just eager to do it as quickly as possible because the fan, the music fan or the music nerd in me is legitimately just keen. I just want to hear it with my own ears. I want to hear the recordings. I want to hear how it sounds with a female singing it and not me singing it poorly, So I'm so excited and filled up by that, by just me wanting to press play and hear the song, that I don't notice that, I'm working now for 10 hours because I'm always motivated to keep on going because it's like, I want to now hear the next song and the next song.
Yeah. So can you just try, just for argument's sake, can you try and run us through a day in your life at the moment? So what time do you wake up and what time do you go to bed and what happens in between?
Okay, let's say from yesterday, right? So I woke up probably about 8 in the morning. So not too early, I guess. And then probably, took a moment to, brush my teeth or whatever and eat something. But at 8:30, I sort of started my day. So 8:30, I was sitting from 8:30 till about 12. I was going over charts for the orchestra because when we're going to put on the show, it's going to be with a full orchestra. Now, the music is fully orchestrated, but when I did that, I thought about, I'm not sure, let's say 20 instruments. Now we're working with double that, so you need to add a lot more layers. And it requires a lot of revisions for the charts that just takes hours because it's thousands of notes that you need to copy-paste and modify. And because I'm not a good, I don't really read notes that much, and I can write them, but very slowly. It just takes me way longer than the average person. So that's why I'm just sitting it for hours. Yeah. But I'm sort of, when I'm in it, I'm just thinking, well, you know what? This is how you are going to learn. So it's almost like going to school now, just look at it as something that you're going to get better at it while doing it. So it doesn't become so mundane because it's really mundane. It's so menial, the task. It's really just looking on dots and moving them and, making sure the sharps are right and the flats are right. And stuff like that. So I've done that. Then, I need to also make some money. So I worked video editing for a client, probably till about 1, from 12 till 1, just batched that. And then at 1, we started recordings with one of the singers. That was from 1 till 4. So once they get here, you get into this zone where you're so focused that, you don't stop for nothing, not even a bathroom break, at least for me. Yeah, if they need to, obviously. But I'm there to serve them, when they're in the studio. So I just don't stop for a second as long as they can keep going. And and in this case, he was really keen to keep going as well. So we just bashed, 4 hours flew like that. And then I allowed myself 1 hour break between this and another session that went into the night. So we finished at 5 p.m. My bad, 1 till 5, yeah. And then 5 till 6 was my break. So I quickly ate something for literally like 3 minutes. And even as I was eating, I was already sitting here on the computer, starting to look on his vocals and editing them. And then before I noticed, it was 6 p.m. because I just got into the editing. So I actually forgot to take a break. And then the other vocalist got here, and we worked together till about 10 p.m. And then I kept working till after she left, till about close to midnight, just keep revising notes. And that's when I get, after that at midnight, an hour or two to chill. I go to bed, about 2 a.m, and then I wake up at 8 and start again.
I mean, it sounds like, to me, just listening to that, it obviously sounds, it sounds, because you're so passionate about it, it sounds awesome. But at the same time, man, like, wow, like your time management skills must be insane, because like I know myself, like I keep getting distracted and something else happens, and then I get nothing done. It's obviously also because I've got 3 little kids that keep coming in and doing stuff, but it's but yeah, like time management must be so important, like to have those segments during the day where you know that from here to here I'm working with this client or this singer. And here I'm, I got my only hour where I can eat and go to the toilet and do my other stuff.
Exactly.
So how do you plan the day, and how often does your planning actually stick?
It usually sticks. I'm pretty good at that. So, I've got a calendar, and it's sort of just full to the brim with, between meetings with clients and students and all the recording sessions and stuff like that. But what I also tend to do is I'm amazing at multitasking, right? So, especially if it's stuff, let's say if it's in the morning when I'm off the clock in a way, but it's when like I do other tasks, like let's say the charts and stuff like that. I would always just have like, literally 5 windows open. So, I mean, it's so basic for me now that it's so passive that I didn't even mention that. But like, let's say when I was doing the charts, so at the same time, I'm talking to a PR company, and we're talking about all sorts of particulars about printing programs and all sorts of stuff that's going to happen in September. And then in another window, I had a bunch of like lists that I need to send to an event planner for styling of the. So I'm actually working on 5 other projects while I do that. And even when we record, so like I said, I'm always with the singer, but whenever they take a toilet break or whatever, I would immediately just pick up the phone and send messages and stuff. Even in just those 2 minutes that I've got between takes. So that's what I'll do to get on top of it. Now it's an exceptional time because we're in this workshop, and sort of the clock is ticking for me to give the singers recordings as soon as possible so they can have as much time as possible to train before the show. So I'm pushing myself. But normally, the way that I go about it is I make sure that my mornings are clear to plan everything, if that makes sense. So normally I wouldn't start working before 11 or 12. I will still wake up at 8 in the morning. And those first 3 hours, it's sort of, my well-being time, to do exercise and stuff like that. But also, that's where I start planning and, sending all the messages I need and stuff like that to plan the next day or the next week and so on. So that's pretty much the way.
Wow. So you mentioned that, you mentioned the show. So is everything actually locked in now, or?
It's baby steps still. So our plan right now, we are doing sort of this, we're going to do this preview, unfortunately not for the public yet. It's going to be a closed event just for the industry. And once we do that and get some feedback, we'll know how we can make the show even better before we take it to the public. Because just even for me doing, the show I've done in the past, I've learned the hard way that if you just take that step along the way, before you actually go to public, you just have some previews and get feedback, you can make the show so much tighter. And then when you do open for the public, your chances of success go, tenfold. So that's sort of our hope. And also just by doing this workshop, we're getting a lot of resources. We're getting a lot of recordings and stuff that we can use in the future. And it's just a really important step. Also for me, because it's so fresh, as I told the singers and as they've seen already, I'm still tweaking stuff. So I'm sort of looking on this whole thing as still an experiment and me really understanding what works, what doesn't, before I actually, going to put all the money to bring it to the public. But yeah, the showcase is locked. We've got a date, we've got a venue, and we're sort of planning everything that we need to do to make that happen and be on the best level possible. And after that, the good news is, there's an orchestra we're in touch with. So that would have been the biggest hurdle to go above. I don't want to make it official yet because it's not official yet, if you know what I mean. But we definitely have an orchestra interested, and then that means that there's a viable chance in the future we'll be able to do the show on a scale that normally an individual wouldn't be able to produce. And if you're not a massive production company, like to hire a full orchestra for a show, that's insanity. And even if you are a production company, actually most production companies I know can't afford it as well, because it's a very expensive endeavor. Maybe the most expensive. I read actually one time Frank Zappa's book, and he's got like a full chapter about never work with an orchestra and how every time he tried it in his career, even he got bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the money of it would probably be one thing, but the logistics, of having that many instruments, you have to sort of, and the space, like you need a massive venue for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff to think about, and we'll figure that out after September, after we do our showcase. Then we'll be smarter and we'll understand what's the scope of the show and where we want to take it. If the venue that we're going to look on would be 500 people, 1,500 people, like there's a lot of stuff to work out. And I've got ideas, but I would be 10 times more confident when I'll see what other people that know as good as me or even better than me think. And then I'll know, you know what, it's worth taking that risk.
How far away is this magic or secret showcase that you're talking about? That's not open to the public. How far away is that? Like, how long time have you got?
We've got 3 months. It's the end of September.
Okay.
Yeah. We're actually not working we're not going to spend a lot of time in rehearsal for this. What that we're doing, we're working smarter, not harder. So we're spending now the next couple of weeks recording the whole opera with what we call guides. So that means, we're still giving it a pretty good effort to make it sound good and get emotion and stuff and in the performance, but we're not being anal as you would be when you're actually recording an album, where it has to be perfect. Because it's not the album. We're not taking it out to public yet. But basically we're creating the best recordings we can so they can take it home and live with that. And you know how it is. When you actually know an album inside out, it's so easy to then perform it because you just know it. So if they actually have now like a month and a half where they can just listen to it, then they don't need a lot of rehearsals. They can just come, and we plan to only do like 3 or 4 rehearsals and we can go forward because they'll have a lot of time to just experience the songs, and the whole show is songs. There's no dialogue; it's all music. So,
yeah, good point. Yeah, that's so to give everybody sort of like the opportunity to actually get into the whole thing, like from start to finish. Because like you said, if there's no dialogue, it's just one long album, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, exciting. So, how about like obviously if you're working 12-hour days at the moment, have you got time to do anything else? Like, have you got, because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today as well is actually some of your songwriting and your actual songs. I know an opera, obviously it's all your songs as well, but
of course, yeah.
but you've done so many cover songs, really like that you've made your own. You've also done quite a few originals that's on your YouTube page. Have you had time for any of those, or is that completely sort of put on the shelf for the time being?
Well, you know what? Funnily enough, when I was writing the opera, where you would think that all my creative resources are pouring into this massive project that was so consuming, as like we talked last time, that eventually it pushed me to go off the grid for 5 weeks and concentrate on it because I had to finish it. And it still took me the better part of a year. Even throughout that, I was actually writing a lot of songs that had nothing to do with the opera. A lot, actually. It's almost like this button, I feel like, that you can just switch on and off. You know what I mean? Like, so my creativity was on, and then I would find inspiration in a lot of stuff. And sometimes it was inspiration relevant to the opera. a lot of the times it wasn't. And then I was like, cool, let's develop that as well. Because again, I've got that childish thing about me where I hear something, I just go, I want to hear it. Like, I want to be able to press play. So sorry, all my other work, sorry, the opera even. Everything is got to hit pause now. I'm going to write it on the computer, and I'm not going to stop until I can hear it back. And then I can go to bed.
Wow.
That's usually my mentality. It's like, I can't deny myself the pleasure, like I can't hold my expectations. So that's how it would be. And now that I'm sort of switched more to, I guess, for lack of a better description, admin mode, because now it's more about being a producer and a director, less creating stuff. Because even with the orchestra, like for example, it's all written. So like I said, it's just menial tasks of modifying notes on a page, but there's no the creativity is not that much in there anymore. Yeah, there's still creative bits, but not as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the opera. Obviously, directing actors, it is creative and it's so enjoyable as well. But I'm just saying, I don't need to create any more new resources, right? So because I sort of switched off, oddly enough, I've had no new music come to my mind over the past couple of weeks, because it's like my mind is now, I'm just trying to be more, in that mode. So, and it's so funny. I know that I shouldn't be scared, because I wrote music I've been writing music for so many years, and I keep proving to myself that it's not a fluke, because I keep doing it more, and more ambition, and more and more ambitious and more complex. And, doing stuff like the opera is insanity. But then when I get to those modes, and now let's say 3 weeks have passed and I haven't written any new song, I start to feel, oh my God, is it gone forever? Will I ever write another song again? You have that fear. It creeps into the back of your mind, right? So I'm right now there. I'm actually almost wanting to write a song just to prove to myself that it's not over, even though I shouldn't, because I've got like 25 songs to release already.
Yeah. So have you got 25 songs to release that you've already written, or is that a part of the opera?
Look, well, that's the opera, but there's actually, I think there's about 3 songs ready for release that I need to produce clips and, release them. And there's probably about 5 other ones that are halfway recorded and in development. So that's almost an album, because that's like 8 songs. And of course, man, look, I literally, because over the years, I write all the time, right? So I literally would have, I'm not kidding you, hundreds of songs, sitting ready, like waiting for me to actually start working on them. But those songs, unfortunately, the ones that are not part of the ambitious projects are always on the low flame. So I love doing them, and I wish I would get one day to the point where, that's all I do, and I can actually release them regularly and actually then produce dozens of them a year.
You're talking about your original songs?
Yeah, the original songs.
Okay.
Yeah. But for now, what happens, I end up releasing 1, 2, maybe 3 songs a year, if that, because I always have to prioritize other projects that are a bit bigger in terms of scope. But I love them. I love writing songs.
Yeah, because we listened to Mistaken, was the opening song here, and that was one of the songs. I think you released that one. Was it last year?
Yeah. No, I think maybe it even was the end of 2018, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Could be. Yeah. But who played drums on that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah, you did a stellar job.
That was a fun little jam on the good old hybrid kit in the back here. So, but that was good. Yeah. Now it's a great rock song as well. So how did that song come up, and what's that song about? I like to sort of find out what made you write, or what made people write the song, and because usually there's some feelings or some a specific setting or emotion behind it. So tell us a little bit about what Mistaken is about.
Okay, cool. Well, look, I would say all the new songs that I've been releasing over the last couple of years, I've written them, but this one is an exception because I actually had a co-writer, Salabate, the singer.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a classic. We sort of went the traditional, I guess, rock songwriting team where I just gave him a riff and then it was whatever inspired him. So I actually had no say in the intention of the song this time because I just trusted him, to get a vibe. Obviously, the riff, you can feel aggression from it and stuff like that. So, we both knew it's not going to be a love song or anything like that. But we didn't really have a discussion about what is it going to be. It was more about, take it home, see what it brings out of you. I find when I write guitar riffs that it's really hard for me to come up with lyrics and vocal melodies because I'm so attached to the guitar riff. So, and I like it when you can come up with something that won't be, us doing the same thing together. You know what I mean? So it's
absolutely.
Hard. It's funny. If I've got a vocal melody, then I can write a totally different guitar riff. No problem. I can do that. But if that's my seed, if what that came to my mind was the riff, then I'm stuck because it's like, I'm probably going to start singing, this is a song that goes like that. Like I'll actually follow the riff, So, and that's why usually when I've got a really riffs that I feel are really powerful, I'm just putting them like a little bank, and I go, one day I'll give it to a singer that they can do. So that was the case with Sal.
So is this the only one that you've done like that? Because last time we heard Whoever Gets Me Wins, which is obviously not very rocky. It's more of like a puppy tune.
Yeah, that's what I wrote on my own. Yeah.
Okay. So do you mainly write the lyrics yourself? Or is this or Mistaken was just a one-off?
Yeah, Mistaken was an exception. I guess nowadays, back in when we wrote Mistaken ages ago, I would think 2015 or 16.
Oh, wow.
And back then, I was still, again, for lack of a better word, I was clinging to the idea that the way for me to write songs is with a writing partner, because I was very used to that in all my bands. That's how it was. That's not to say that I didn't write sometimes lyrics, but then it was the exception to the rule, right? Usually my go-to would be, I've got a tune, take it home, let's see what happens. And then maybe I'll have tweak it or whatever, but, you're the singer, that's your domain. I'm the guitarist, that's my domain. That's how it will stay more often than not. Unless I felt something so powerful that, you know how it is sometimes, like in a rush of emotion, you just sit there and write, and yes, she broke my heart. So that's how it used to be in my bands. And when I sort of started, I guess, taking my solo releases a bit more seriously, I started opening up more to writing. But it just happened so sparsely, the motivation to write lyrics, that I still wasn't really pursuing that. I wasn't pushing myself to really see how far I can open myself up in my lyrics and really write stuff that I think are a bit more poignant and have a purpose. But so when I met Sal, we had that classic click that, like with all my bands, where that's a singer that I can just write with. It's so effortless. There's no beef when we communicate, and that's the best. So we actually wrote a couple of songs. I think we wrote two, maybe we started a third one. Mistaken was one of them. And I can't place my finger on what happened that made me switch my attitude, but it was just about that time that suddenly, no, actually I do know. I know what it was. So I had the end of a massive relationship, and I just started writing so much as a way to process the pain. Right? And it was like, I liken stuff, modes like that, like going to the gym for your brain, so this was like going to the gym for poetry or whatever it is, but that muscle that thinks about lyrics started to become so active. And then it's like, once I got it to a certain threshold, I couldn't shut it off. It was like, I would just walk in the street and a line would come to me. And that never used to happen. I would always have to slave over lyrics and figure out, I hate doing this. I don't know what rhymes with that word. And it just was always like work. It was never like playing guitar where I just pick it up and, hey, okay, that's cool. So that completely changed. Suddenly it became like music. I could just summon it, and of course, then I would work on it and make it even better, and think about better rhymes or better imagery or whatever. But the seeds of the song became so easy and so tangible to get, like opening your mind, like there's a radio station you just got to tune to, and stuff would start coming. That's how it feels almost, And then slowly I just saw, well, you know what? It's actually getting really easy, and I feel like I'm connecting to the music. I don't want to say even more than singers, but obviously because I created the music, then I can really, connect the emotions between the lyrics and the music, because I know what I was feeling when I was coming up with the riff anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just really, I like that connection, and I'm still open. Actually, was just talking to another singer a couple of months ago about writing songs. So I'm always open to that, because I think it shouldn't be one or the other. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep writing my songs that come to me, but I've got still so many guitar riffs and other stuff that when it came with no words or lyrics, and I don't believe in forcing it. You know, if it didn't come with that, cool, let's save that. And one day either it will come to me or I'll give it to someone else.
For sure. But again, another thing I've often thought about when it comes to you and your crazy creative mind is you also do all your own music videos. So when you actually start writing the song, do you at the same time have an idea for the visual part, like for the video side of it as well? Because all your videos again are so many different themes and genres, and like you put such big effort into actually making the production value really, really high as well. So have you got any thought of that? Like, for instance, let's just, now we're talking about Mistaken. Did you have an idea for that clip when you guys were sort of fine tuning the song?
No, and you know what? This is actually something that I think has been preventing me from releasing more songs that I would want to, because I do think of myself as a visual artist. It's really important for me, the visual statement. So I don't want to do just a clip of, hey, it's us playing, you know, I'm not about that. And actually, in most of my clips, I'm not even there, or if I'm there, it's so minor. You know, it's not about me. It's more about, I get more pride out of coming up with a concept that I think, oh, that's cool. I haven't really seen that in a clip. So hopefully that would be attractive to people. And that way, you know, the hope is that if the clip is interesting on its own merit and the song is good on its own merit, then you put them together and your chances of people sharing it and making it a bit viral are much bigger. So that's always my thought. And then if I don't have a good idea, I just wait. And that's actually the case with the 3 songs that I finished that are ready for release. I just, you know, I don't feel like I've got the right concept visually for them yet. I'm developing it. But until I know that I've got a statement to make visually, I don't feel like, because no one is waiting for the next Kesh release. So there's no clock ticking anyway. I can release it whenever. You know? So I just prefer to wait until there's actually something cool to do visually as well. And of course, budget and stuff like that. That's always a part of it. But with Mistaken, I think we usually, with all the songs, this is a process, because the singers would start asking the same thing. They would ask like, because, in any one of my songs, regardless of if I wrote it or if the singer wrote it, I always work with different singers because I like to find the right voice for the right song. Yeah. And all of them unanimously always, once we start recording, they're asking, oh, what's going to be the clip? Do you have an idea? And I always tell them, no, look, this is how it's going to work. We have to finish the song, because I'm not going to, I'm just so good in it's that word that I couldn't say last time. Compartmentalize? Yes. So I'm just doing, I just switch modes. So I know now I'm in music mode. I'm not thinking visually. Let's just focus on that, make the best song we can. Yeah. And I know it's so much easier once I can hear the song, press play and just hear it in a loop. And that's usually what I would do. I would just go on a walk, put it in my headphones, and just listen to it, for 30 minutes in a loop. And start getting visual ideas. And I just switch my mode. Now I'm just thinking as a visual artist. No more thinking as a producer, not thinking as a sound engineer, not thinking as a musician, just as a visual artist. And I would start writing, in my phone, I've got like a notepad app, and I would just write ideas that come to mind. And then once I get a basic concept, then it's also logistics. Okay, how can we make that happen? Because a lot of the times my ideas, it's like, well, I've never done that. I don't even know how to do it. So now let's learn how to do it, Let's figure out how we can make that happen on screen. So like with Mistaken, when we, the idea, like I was interested in stop motion animation at the time. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we can use stop motion that would take over the whole screen on the phone. That's why it was shot vertically. Yeah. Because I thought it would be just so unnerving if it's just a floating head that fills your whole screen. There's something very unnerving about that. But I wasn't sure about what's going to happen with the face. So I just had the idea, I wanted to be stop motiony, so it would be frantic, because I wanted his eyes like to move on your screen, you know. And I knew that I wanted to find a way to do stop motion animation with smooth camera movements, which I had to learn how to do, because that was sort of the trick of the clip. If you watch it again and think about it, you'll notice that it's really interesting that he's very choppy, and you can see the stop motion, but the camera tracking is flawless as we move with him. It's not choppy at all, it's smooth. Yeah, the zoom in, the zoom out, all of that. So that was sort of the challenge for me to learn. But then I was like, okay, let's, I want him to sort of change his appearance as the clip goes. So I was contacting a makeup artist. Her name is Hania. She worked with us on the events. And then it became, again, a collaborative thing, just like writing with Sal the song. It was like, I want you to be proud of the clip. This would be your statement as well. So this is the concept. And I mapped it out. Look, the songs got like 7 sections if we count like this, you know, a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and so on. That's about 7. So if we can come up with 7 concepts of stuff that would happen, I don't even know what, but just stuff needs to change on his face. You figure it out. Then we can have a clip. I'll figure out the technical sides. You figure out that. So she came back with this idea of him like deteriorating. And I was like, wow, that's such a, I love how it's completely not literal. You know, it's not, it matches the mood of what we sing about, but it's not one of those clips where he says, you know, what does he say in this clip? He says, mistaken, I've never, I can't remember the lyrics. You remember the lyrics?
No, I can't, sorry. That's okay. So
okay. Let's say the chorus, right? He goes like, I wash my hands of you, long time overdue. And we don't reference that. We don't see him like washing hands, and you know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's something about that. But in a way, there is a connection in the symbolic nature of him deteriorating, like the relationship that he sings about that has fallen apart.
Yeah.
You know, so I like that there was still some connection that I could feel from her drawings. But it was its own thing, you know, so you have to think if you want to connect them. It's not that obvious. And yeah, she just came up with all those ideas of him developing, you know, like moss on his face, and there's even little tombstones that pop out at the end. And it was fantastic. So it's just like writing a song. If you find a good collaborator, you can come up with really interesting visual things that you can do. And just going back, I just realized you asked me before about what the song is about, and I mentioned Sal wrote it, right? But I sort of deviated a bit as I was explaining, but you know, once what had happened is that once Sal heard the song, we came back and he said yeah, I want to sort of talk about, you know, about how someone mistreated someone else and how he was mistaken in getting it. And I remember that what had happened, the part that I couldn't solve ever, the riff, he immediately had a melody and came up with an amazing verse. And then he was like, I've got this idea to, like, for a vocal melody, like he had this idea like, oh, you come. And it didn't work with the music, so we actually started writing new music to accommodate his idea for the pre-chorus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for the longest time, for that main riff, or not the main riff, for one of the other riffs, the chorus riff, the we were just stuck. He couldn't come up with anything. And then I ended up writing the lyrics for that. So it was really a collaborative thing where, you know, at the end, some of the music actually came from him and some of the lyrics came from me.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It's really fun when you can find someone, there's just no ego, you know, it's like, yeah, let's just make the best song we can.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier in regards to making that visual aspect of the clip that, you know, so hopefully you could make something that was, you know, nice to look at and then maybe it could go viral. Like in my opinion, like so many of your videos are so good, like really, because again, they are really, really well produced. How do you put them out there? Like, how do you make them? I know you can't make them go viral, but what are you putting into as an effort to try and push it out there?
Not much beyond Facebook ads. Just, you know, I admit it. I put money into Facebook ads for sure, because that's the way, especially with the new algorithms. Well, that's the thing. I just notice every year it just gets harder. Like up till a couple of years ago, you would release it and most of your network at least would see it. You know, so you would immediately have that as a starting point. And then hopefully some of the people in your network share it, and it gets to new people. And it's the best. Once you get past your first circle, other people that just see it on their feed that has no relation to you, they perceive it as a real song. You know what I mean? Because your friend is always, oh, Kesh created a song.
Yeah.
But once someone sees it, doesn't know me, and just perceive it, oh, that's a legitimate new song that's out there, they are actually more inclined to like it if it's good, and then share it even more, and even become more passionate about, like it, comment, the stuff that we artists, we are starving for that. People don't get it. Like, they just think that it's all good. He knows I like it. He knows that I know him. But no, if we don't get that communication, like someone actually buying to type a comment, I love it. That's what it's all about. That's why actually, I found it in YouTube, I stopped being so active because the communication is not as much as on Facebook. On Facebook, I feel like I get way more comments and stuff like that. So I don't feel as if it's just I release something to the ether. And there used to be a time where I had a bit of a fan base on YouTube. I think about, let's say, an average of 4,000 viewers a month. I would frequent, check my page every month. So, which is nice. It's not big, but it was at least a fan base that actually checked. But out of that, I would get 3 comments per video on whatever I release. So I just felt like, I don't know, I see the numbers go up. It means nothing. It's just a number on the screen. Now it's got 1,000 views. Now it's got 16,000 views. Great. I don't feel any accomplishment as an artist. I don't feel like, I don't know, did people like it? They didn't like it? There's nothing. So I really got over it and actually stopped producing for a while. But once I switched to Facebook, I feel there's way more engagement. And even if they don't comment directly, I can at least see when they shared it. And that obviously gives me validation and know, wow, they liked it so much they hit share. Especially if they actually wrote something like, oh, guys, check it out. Or even the small comment like them tagging someone, that's great because I know, wow, they liked it so much they want to show it to their friend. Fantastic, So I feel that's way more powerful. But there's not much you can do. And like I said, over the last 2 years, it became really bad because now even your network won't see this. It would be like the 10 people that maybe you've been in communication recently or that have followed your page and liked something accidentally. But that's it. No matter how many followers you have, they don't really see your page. That's what I find. So I have to put Facebook ads for it to actually be in rotation in people's feed as an ad. But it works, and sometimes, if it's a really, good clip or powerful song or both, you start to get a domino effect of people sharing it and stuff. So I got to the point, where I got a really decent amount of views, but never obviously viral to the point of being famous or anything, But I could definitely see, how I moved from having 200 views on a clip to 2,000 to 20,000 to 100,000. So I could see how the better the clips got and the more, it's not the more money I put, but the more I was like just inclined to keep it active for a while with the ads. It wasn't really a question of money. I guess it was more a question of time. So I used to just go, well, let's put, X amount of money for a day or for a week. And that's it. That's the money I'm going to spend on this. And I moved to another. And then I changed my mentality. It was like, no, let's just let it run in the background, low budget, but for a month or two. See what happens. See who it gets to. And then occasionally you strike gold with someone that shares it. And then 10 of their friends share it. And you get a little wave and a little surge of views and comments.
Yeah. But with, so if you are putting money into it, is there an ultimate goal on the other end, like to try and make money from it? Or are you simply just putting money into it to get more views? Because that's not a very good business plan. No, as a business plan, it's completely retarded, and it doesn't work. Look, I'm fortunate that all I do is art, and I do make money out of art. I work in production, and that's great. So in a way, I don't feel pressure on making money from my music. I want to get to the point where I guess I make money from the music just so I can make more of it, but not because I want to make money from my music, if that makes sense. Absolutely.
So for me, it's just like, I have so much creativity and so much songs I want to give. And the only thing that prevents me, obviously, it's time, because I got to do other jobs, which are still obviously production related, and I'm still happy doing. But I would be even more happy creating, or, that's my first love. So the goal is to get there, but obviously not through the songs. The songs, I don't think would be, you release the songs in the hope that eventually they would get you noticed enough to build a career off it. And then you can think about, how do we make money from the songs? Let's sell albums, let's sell whatever, let's sell downloads, streams, and all that. Right now, technically you can buy the song if you want to, but I'm never pushing it, and it's not what it's about right now. I actually think it would be a bit pretentious. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I just feel when you're in that level of where I'm at, which is not a high level, if you're just about, buy my album, buy my, stream it, and I need the views and I need the counts, it's like, dude, come on. First get to the point where people actually want to hear your music, and then it's totally legitimate to obviously get money for that, or at least from shows. But right now, like for me, it's actually more fulfilling not to see someone buying it, but to see someone listen to it. Right. Yeah. So I'm happy to give it for free if I can just see that people actually like it and download it and listen to it and comment and share. That's worth way more than the 50 cents you would get for selling it on Bandcamp or whatever,
Yeah.
So yeah.
But would there be have you got any plans of releasing an album in the future, or maybe doing an EP or doing something more like a concept rather than just putting out, as you mentioned, like 2 or 3 songs a year?
No, because, and it's funny that I'm saying that because obviously I'm really into concept projects, but I do feel as if album as a medium is kind of dead. I just don't know a lot of people that still, buy albums, and even if they do, that they actually listen to albums and don't listen to the shuffle playlist. I'm guilty. No, actually, I can't say that I'm guilty. I'm guilty in the shuffle playlist, but I definitely buy albums. I just bought 2 this week. So, I'm also,
Which ones?
Which ones? One of them was Hades Town, the soundtrack. It's a musical that actually one of the singers for my opera introduced to me, and it just blew my mind. I just felt like almost like a kindred spirit. It's just like the type of musical I want to write. So it's just so awesome as music. Forget about the musical. It's just a listening experience. It's great music, and that's something that I feel it's a bit of a hit and miss sometimes with musicals. Yep. It can be fantastic, but if you just put the album as an album, like it doesn't really do it for me. There's a lot of like compromises within the music that work, I guess, when you see it visually, but not as a song. But sometimes, you get something like Jesus Christ Superstar, or in this case, Hades Town, that forget the show, just close your eyes, listen to the music. It's all there. It's 100% fantastic. So, and that's what I strive to do with my music too. So I hope, that's my ambition, that Demands and the new one, the Holocaust, would be the same experience. It would be a fantastic story visually, but you can never see the show. Just press play on the album and you get there. But anyway, yeah, that's one of the albums. The other album I bought was a new one from an Israeli band called Balkan Beatbox, which is actually a massive inspiration on me.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's. But going back to your question, they're so worth it, man. You've never heard music like this in your life.
Balkan Beatbox. I like the name, man. That's awesome.
They're awesome. Actually, you have heard something. They've been sampled to a hip hop song. Do you know the song "Talk Dirty to Me"?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's sax line. That's Balkan Beatbox.
Yeah.
So if you like that music, all the music is like that. It's phenomenal.
Awesome, man. I'll definitely give that a spin.
I've actually learned so much about how to write saxophone lines from them, because it's insanity what I do.
Yeah,
completely virtuosic. So back to your question about releasing an album. No, I don't. I just don't think there's any point in terms of the business model. I think it would be a lot of work for nothing. I mean, with Demands, we've done it because it was a concept album. But again, it was a very indulgent thing. It was more me, the music nerd, want to see it in an album form. Before I die, just give it to me. I want to see it,
Right.
And with Holocaust, maybe one day. But actually, this time I'm not even trying to produce an album, because even more so than when we did the Demands, I feel like there's no point. So I feel like the business model should be singles, and that's what I'm trying to do. Admittedly, because of my limitations, it's not consistent enough to build a following. I think that, if I were to release, I need to release probably, I would say 10 songs a year for consistency.
Yeah.
And I'm not there. I'm there creatively. I write them. I write way more than 10 songs a year. But put all the production, because I'm a one-man band in a way, because I produce. Obviously I work with musicians, but I just wear so many hats in terms of not only being the composer, but then also being the sound engineer and being the video producer. It just takes so many work hours out of my day. So it's not just writing the song and releasing it. It's like, okay, now I need to spend, 30 hours mixing the song. And now I need to spend, 20 hours editing the video clip. And so you got to find time to all that, to juggle all that. That's why I can't do it as often as I would want to. It has to be in specific times where I can. But I still think that's the way. Just release. Look, I think if you release singles and you do get a following, what then you do a compilation album. So after you released about 10, put it in an album, call it whatever you want, volume 1, 2020, whatever you want to call it. And that's the album. And then if someone is an avid fan that wants the album, like let's say there was a time I was such a fan of epic rap battles, I actually bought the compilation albums. So every year they would just put out a compilation album of that year. And I thought, that's a business model. If you're really a fan that's like, shut up and give me your money, or so shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money.
That's it. So if you're in that fanhood mode, great, you will buy the compilation album. But other than that, creating an album just for the sake of saying, this is an album, I don't know if there's a point, because it would just get lost in the no one would listen to it as an album anyway. So even if they were to buy it.
But I suppose again, like if you are releasing so many singles, and for each single again, like you're making a music video as well at the same time. I suppose, to doing an album, you probably need to sort of bypass a few of them and not make videos for them.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, but so like all I was saying about, like, if you do write that many songs and you could obviously put them, that's okay. You can open it, click, get your bourbon out.
So I was trying to be discreet, but I
can see that, but that's why. But now, so I was just thinking, like, obviously, if you do write that many songs, and like how many of them do you actually bury again? Like, how many say, this is not good enough to be a Keshet song?
A lot.
Yeah. So
I would say it's about 10-1 or so. Like that's right. If I was working in album form, I guess there's a bit more leeway of just going into songs that are, whatever you want to call it, experimental or or B-sides or whatever. But I mean, I think when every artist produce an album, the hope is to not have those filter songs or B-sides.
Yeah.
I actually dig the fact that now that we are in a single dominated society, it's almost like how it used to be when the Beatles started. It really pushes you to just actually be tough and critical on yourself and not go with that song that deep in your heart, that song is not really all there. That's not my best work, So and that's the thing, because we take luxuries in albums, and also sometimes there's pressure. I know people that are signed to labels, and there's pressures of time, and that's why you end up with those filter songs, because we got to fill up the album. So I like it that it's singles, because it means that you put in the best thing that you think you can produce. And even if one day I will produce albums, let's say that I get to the level of success that allows me to just create all the time, I would hope that I can cut, now that I've been disciplined this way with the singles, that I could still make those tough calls, and even on an album, cut those songs out, So maybe record them as fun bonuses for fans, you know what I mean? Regardless of the album.
Yep.
Ideally an album. I mean, that's why the albums we love the most are the albums that have no filter songs. It's just, that's why we love them, because they're perfect albums. Every song works. So but I guess there's a trade away with you not growing as an artist, in the sense of allowing yourself to go through those experimental phases. And because there's merit in doing them. You can really grow as an artist by writing all sorts of weird stuff and then producing them and seeing how far you can run with that mode. So that's the only giveaway, I guess, but still worth it to not have them.
but you still do that a lot, because you do sort of spread over multiple genres. Like again, like you've had that dangerous road. We heard that one last time. Then we had Mistaken, which is like a more solid, like guitar and like beat based rock song, like powerful vocals and all that. And again, you had like your pop songs as well. So there's like, you sort of do, move all over the place to begin with.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there's another thing I can't remember if we got into that last time. But the thing I was curious about is like all these collaborators that you are working with, and especially like by the time we're gonna finish off on the last video, Happy, you managed to get a lot of people in for that video shoot as well. But how do you find all these people, and how do you, probably even more important, out of all the people you find, how do you say this is the right person for this song? And sort of get them to actually come in and like, because I suppose ultimately you're probably going to have to sell them the idea as well, that, I need you to sing this song or play bass or drums on this song. How do you do that?
Okay, there's a few questions there. So first thing about finding the people, it requires a bit of talent, and I don't want to toot my own horn or anything here, but you need to be, you can't just force. If someone is a good singer, they're not necessarily good for this particular song, so you can't just force any voice on any style and so on. If you are one of those artists that create and are not pigeonholed by genres, then you gotta be open also vocally, because what is going to happen, even if you have your best friend and your communication. Let's say Sal, one of my favorite people alive on earth. I can hang with him forever, and I love writing with him. I don't work with him on as many songs as I want, because I write so versatile that even if we were to try, and we actually tried a few songs, and it was like, it really feels forced on his voice, and it's not doing service to him as a singer. It's not going to put him in a good light. It's not going to do service to my song. And I saw this a lot when I was in bands, because obviously when you're in a band, that's the band. You're not going to think about other singers. That's the singer. And what that happens then is one of two things. Either, yes, the song is a compromise. You tweak the song to accommodate the singer, and you end up with something that is good, but not the full potential of the song. And that's probably how you actually end up with a lot of filter songs in bands. Because it becomes almost a matter of ego. The guy that wrote the song wants the song in the band because you've got no other outlet. You want your songs out, but the singer wants you to change it to accommodate him, which is fair enough. So that's one option. The other option is that you just say that's not right for the band, and you take it out. And that's how a lot of us end up with solo albums, because it's like we know we can't bring that to the band. It's too funky, it's too heavy, whatever it is. It's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
So when you're in solo mode, you have a bit more freedom to then do whatever you want, but it can only work, I find, right, if you really are smart about who you choose. And I think about this a lot, both in terms of musicians. So sometimes I won't use the same musicians for my recordings, and definitely in terms of vocals. And I got this massive compliment a couple of months ago from one of the singers, Clay, that sang in Dangerous Road. He said that, I've got this uncanny ability to match a song to a singer, because I guess I've done it enough now to really develop the knack for it. And I'm fortunate, because I work in production, I meet a lot of singers all the time. Some of them might not know even that I'm a songwriter. They might know me as Kesh that operates the camera, or Kesh that runs the soundboard or whatever. But I listen, and once I sort of file their voice in my mind, I would start playing with that in my imagination. And a lot of the times I would actually write songs for them without me even talking to them or knowing if there's a chance of them wanting me. Worst case, cool. I'll find another singer, hopefully in the same vibe one day, and I'll just file those songs. But a lot of the times, this is how I get the people, because I come to them and I go, look, I've got a song that I wrote that I think would be perfect for your voice. And I'll be honest, I sort of have written this with your voice in mind. And I think the fact that they know that someone was so moved by their voice, that it ended up leading to him creating a song, that opens a big door, and it makes them, even if they are on a different league of success than him, it makes them listen. And they go, I'm really curious. I want to know what's that song. And I'm fortunate that, thankfully, the songs more often than not are, I guess, good enough to attract them. So like when I met Paula and Clay that sang in Dangerous Road, especially back then, their claim for fame was much larger than I. Not that it's a competition or that it matters or anything, but just for the sake of what we're talking now. They were, both of them were on The Voice. Both of them have a successful show that runs and always sells out here, Vida in Perth. They've just done Apologist did We Will Rock You. Clay have just been I think he's just been cast to Jesus Christ Superstar. So they had music careers, and I was just fresh out of the Dements, but I don't think they knew about me in their circles because it wasn't the same circles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I came really as a nobody, and I just saw them on a show on Fringe, and I was so moved by their voices, and I knew that I have to use them. And actually, I really love the musicians as well. So I was like, after the show, I just came there and boldly went guys, I gotta get you. You don't know me. My name is Keshet. I actually work with Platinum, so I'm going to see you in the future because that's where they were about to do the shows, the musicals, We'll Rock You and stuff.
Right.
And I told them I would love to feature a song, but please give me time, And thankfully, people. It's Perth, right? So even if you've got a claim to fame, it's not that big, right? So people are not really stuck up here. That's what I find at least. So if you come to them, they'll listen. And I'm sure they probably just ask around, is this guy serious? Has he done anything? And I would hope that whoever they talk to said yes. But the point was that eventually when I did reach out after a few days, just to tee up a meeting, they were open for it. And then they came, and this is an experience that I get a lot because usually I just meet people here in my home studio. And let's say it happens all the time when I do auditions because, I'm pretty good visual artist like we talked about. So when I put audition material, it looks professional because I really make sure that, to give a vibe in my imagery, from the fonts to the logo, whatever. Yeah. So when they come through this door and they see, I'll show you, oh my God, it's just someone's living room. It looks so dodgy, right? You just go you can immediately see their face go, this is going to be a waste of time. I can't believe I'm here, if they don't know you, because they just don't know you, but then what happens every time, same thing happened with the auditions and same thing happened with Paul and Clay and other singers that I worked with. They listen to the song and you can just see how they go, okay, this guy's not messing around. There's something good here. And every time that's the biggest validation. You just go, well, if the song won them over when they were already in this disposition of, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. This is a waste of time, then that's the best. Then that you have something good with the song. And every time, we had that validation, we just went and I find with all those singers, once they get that there's really emotion and depth to the way that I operate and write and stuff, then they become so happy to just do whatever, and they don't become fussy about, how much time it's going to get them and, if it's too much work versus the money. It's never about that. It just really becomes immediately about the art. It's like, we love that song. How can we make it the best level we can? And that's how it goes. And I see it all the time with musicians as well. You would think, because, if I hire a musician to play, and they play all the time in bands, that's all they do. They play music, and they play great music, right? So this is another gig. What's the difference? That's what I would think, But then I see same effect because they go, hang on, but this is an original song, and it feels remarkably good compared to, let's say, maybe other gigs they had of original artists in Perth, calling them. Then they immediately drop that attitude and just become, no, man, that's cool. You need me 5 times, I'll come 5 times. I want to do the song. Let's do the song.
Right.
So that's the best. And I guess you take that plus obviously having a personality that doesn't rub people the wrong way. And that's how you end up with this winning team. So every once in a while I would freshen up my arsenal. I would do a shout out on Facebook. Actually, was thinking this week, maybe it's time to do another one. Of just telling people, look, I always write and produce stuff. If you're a singer or a musician, just let me know you exist. So I can keep people in mind. And every year or so when I do a shout out like that, obviously the more productions I do, the more people understand that I'm not messing around and that it's not amateur hour. And then you get even more people or people that have even more experience actually apply. It's the same thing with, the fact we, in the Holocaust now, one of our singers was actually, in proper West End shows. And I'm sure that if I were to, I did the call out for, and we had other people from the opera company and stuff like that. And when we did the original Dements call out, we weren't as spoiled for choice on that, with people in that level of the industry. And it wasn't that the demands wasn't good. It was that they just had no way of knowing that this is legitimate. If you don't know about the producer and stuff, you're perfectly within your rights to think maybe it's amateur because it's not professional yet. You don't know about him. So it's sort of, it's a bit of an uphill battle, but you just got to keep doing projects and keep always treating people right. And it would spread, it's almost like the share effect on Facebook, because they would tell people, I had a blast working with Kesh, and more people would know. So now it's in a point, where usually when I contact someone nowadays, they've heard about me. So, and usually good things, so, I mean, I would like to think always good things. I don't know, but, so now it's great because it really gives me the luxury to write even more outside the box and really go to, genres that I always hope to do, let's say country or whatever, but I just it wasn't in my circle, those type of musicians. But now I can go, okay, I'm going to write the country song. And if it's good, I'm just going to go to those people that I've never met. And hopefully they've heard about me to the point where they would give me a meeting. And I know that then the music would conquer them. It's just the fact that someone comes to you like this, like I just did, and say, the music is going to conquer you. And you immediately melt.
Obviously, it requires a bit of confidence to be able to do that, and quality. So obviously, you gotta be able to have a song that actually can win people over, I suppose. But that's again also, I suppose, one of sort of the more delicate things about music is like we all have different ears. Like what sounds good to you might not be my cup of tea, and vice versa.
Sure.
So you also gotta make sure that you actually find someone that this might be their cup of tea, I suppose.
Yeah, well, obviously, let's say with Paul and Clay, the singers that did Dangerous Road, I wouldn't have pitched a rock song. That's not their style. And even if it's the best rock song in the world, I don't think they would be interested in doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
So that was that talent that Clay said, that it was like always, I hear a singer and I go, oh man, she would be just so good for a piano ballad. One day, if I ever write a piano ballad, I'm going to contact her because I know that she would, go to town on that, or I hear another singer and I go, man, she is so perfect for funk. I got to dig in and see if I've got a funk song. And now that I know how she sounds, I'm going to try and write something that would work with her voice. So it's always like that, it's like Sal is a fantastic vocal. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
A little accident there. So Sal is an amazing folk singer, but I've got other folk singers that have different tonal qualities. So then even with those little subgenres, I would go, you know what, that singer would have the right resonant. And I know that the way that he would belt those notes would sound more powerful. And then in this song, Sal can really shine because I know he can hit those high notes and so on. So it's just really understanding what makes a singer tick. And I think that raises the chances of you conquering them when you present a song, because you already come with a song that you really did your homework, and you know that if they're going to try and sing it, they're going to feel good about it, because it's like there was thought in the composition or the arrangement, even if whatever. So there was thought there about how it's going to ride in their voice. Now, I can't say that I'm always 100% on the ball. Sometimes we definitely have to change keys and stuff like that. But there's still a stylistic choice in the song that if it's not going to be the style, I'm not even going to pitch it to them. And usually if I write knowing them, then I would even mimic some of their mannerism in the, in the trills and stuff.
What about the other musicians? Because, I'm assuming you only play the guitar. Do you get, how do you find the right bass player, the right keyboard and drummer, or like the remaining instruments for the songs? And probably more importantly, just to have a second follow-up question there, how do you record them? Is that in your living room as well?
Yeah, everything except for drums we record here in this magic room. And thankfully it sounds, not half bad. I'm pretty happy with the way it sounds. So it works.
And your neighbors are happy as well? Or?
I don't know if they're happy. Well, some of them are. Some of them actually asked me to keep the door open because, look, it's not,
that's
not
nice.
amateur hour. Because you have really great musicians and singers come here, it's fun to hear someone, people, pay money to go and see those gigs, So so it's great to hear them. And sometimes we have so eccentric or eclectic, I should say, instruments here, like from, I don't know, like Brazilian accordion to percussion to all sorts of stuff, so it's really interesting for them. Or let's say if I'm working on my Middle Eastern stuff and we using all sorts of stuff there, then yeah, it's crazy. So they enjoy it. Some the ones that are really close to me definitely enjoy it. So that's
awesome.
Great. So finding musicians, same thing. I've got a lot of friends in cover bands, so I go out and see them. And sometimes I find that Fringe is also a great ground to recruit people. So I make it a mission when Fringe is in town. I just go to so many shows, almost like it's a job. Like it's. I enjoy it, of course, but it's more like I have to do this because I want to network and I want to understand who's in town. And then I'll find them on Facebook and reach out. It's just like with the singers. Now I've got so many productions and stuff that if I just give them like a link to my website, they see, oh, cool, wow. So what do you want to work on? Because they can see all the stuff that we've been doing already. And it's finding it. I've got a bassist nowadays that is not unlike me. He's just so versatile. His name is Mark Pereira, and he's so versatile that I can't imagine needing another bass player, no matter what genre I'm doing. So that's very rare. I find usually, I know amazing rock drummers, amazing metal drummers, amazing funk drummers, but rarely it's the same guy. That's fair enough. Like the styles that I can't play on guitar, like I can't play flamenco. So if ever I write a flamenco song, which I probably won't because I can't play it, but if I would actually probably reach out for a guitarist that specializes in that because I wouldn't be doing service to the song.
Yeah.
But like I said, with Mark, so far, no matter what I wrote, I could picture him doing that, and he never failed me. He definitely was on top of it. I've got another drummer that is very similar to that because he's like a big session drummer in Israel. And as I said, the only thing we don't record here is the drums. So then the location, even the country, became insignificant. So I could actually reach out to him. So we grew up, not grew up, but we started our careers together at the same studio where I would have been fresh after the army, 21 or 22. I think he would have been 24. And I was an intern as a sound engineer, and he was working already as a session drummer for records. And that's how I met him. And then he grew up, and works now with the biggest celebrities in Israel. Like he's one of the go-to drummers. And I got to the point where I'm at. And then we reconnected. And he's got this amazing setup. He built this room where it's just to record drums. You don't record in that room anything else, just drums. Nice. And everything is just fine-tuned. Like, oh my gosh, like he's got so many microphones. like you've got like overheads and room mics and like this triple surround capturer and a subwoofer mic for the kick and another two more for the kick, and it's like anything you want you can get.
Yeah.
So he's amazing, and obviously because he's been doing it like for 15 years now, so many different productions, he is extremely versatile as well. So he's another one of those guys that I just found that, man, I can chuck him anything and I'm really happy. And the quality is phenomenal. And thankfully, because of the economy differences between here and Israel, it actually comes out as quite affordable. It would have cost me the same to just cost hire a studio here, let alone a drummer,
Right.
And a drummer on that level, of course.
Yeah.
And just because we're buddies, that's always important. If you can connect with someone on a personal level, it makes the whole process better
and more enjoyable.
And that's what it's all about. But then other musicians, it always changes. There's a piano bar that I've developed recently, and I knew that I needed, for example, like this classical style playing. It needed to be elegant and very, with finesse and a very specific touch that classical musicians have, and let's say jazz musicians might not. And definitely rock and funk musicians, I can't see them pulling that off. So I know one of the best classical players in town, and I reached out, and he was so keen to do it, and he came and he smashed it. And then, in another song, it was like, we need like proper rock and roll, Deep Purple style Hammond playing. and I reached to one of the best Hammond players in town, the one that actually has the legitimate Hammond from the 50s in his house.
Oh, nice.
And, and he was again keen. And we got him for that song, so it's every time just thinking, what does the song need? And who do I know? And like I said, it's just networking. Yeah. You just keep going out, meeting people and registering. So if anyone is like interested in doing something like that, they need to just keep an active list in their mind of like filing paying attention what does each person is good at, and that way they can call on the right person every time for the gig.
Yep. I think I just thought of just then, when you're talking about all these people that you go out and see, and you had your friend from Israel and stuff. Everything that you're doing sort of happens in your room, like with you sitting behind the computer and maybe recording some bits and pieces. Have you got any desire to actually be the guy on stage?
Oh, a massive desire, and unfortunately, it doesn't happen as often as I would like it to. And it's a weird thing because it used to be the main thing I would do. Like in Israel, like I would be definitely more of a performer than anything else. And it sort of changed through the years because I just became more adamant of, I guess, becoming a bit of a control freak and controlling everything that I do, like from recording myself to visual designing myself and so on. But I'm not bitter about it or anything. There's still a lot of joy in what that I'm doing now. And I do get to perform, just not necessarily with my music. But definitely the aspiration is to be on stage and do it. And, oh man, that would be the best. But I'm also not a fool. Like, it's different. If you're young, like when you're young, you've got a lot of fuel in your tank to go to all those shows that no one would come and, go through all that. And now that I'm a bit older, I just don't have it in me, because I know what's going to happen. If you do a band, you're going to start and it's going to be like your friends would come to the first 3 gigs, then even they won't bother. And, it's all those shitty nights where it's 5 bands and there's 5 people in the audience and you get, how is this even possible? If every band member would have brought one person, we would have more people than we have now. So we didn't even bring one person per band member, but that's what's going to that's what happens all the time. And, because you don't have that thrill of when you're youth and you just so fueled about, doesn't matter though, but we're creating music and all that, then it's just not fun, because that's cool. But I've done it already. I've created music and I've done all those years. So I'm less about that. I would definitely do it when I feel like there's a reason. Like, let's say if a song goes viral, you get a fan base and there's actually a demand to see you live, definitely put on a band, let's do it. Or the same thing with the ambitious projects, so demands, I was on stage playing live and that was the best. It was playing to full houses, or the hope is with the Holocaust to perform live with it as well, even though it's not a guitar centric piece. So I would be, just serving with some chords that really anyone can replace me and play. But I'd like to think that, part of me as an artist is also me as a guitarist. I would like to think that I have a bit of a style and a statement on my instrument. So one day, if I do get to a point where there's some level of success, then I would think that me playing live would be a central part of that, because it would be an experience of, hearing that style of playing, because I've got this now mix, especially in the last years, working on so many Middle Eastern stuff. It's now got this really weird rock and roll meet Middle Eastern vibe that I always have when I play now.
But isn't it a little bit like the chicken or the egg kind of thing? Like obviously for you to play live, you got to put some songs out. For you to put some songs out, you got to not necessarily have a band, but you got to have probably like a core group of people that, if you were to go out and perform, you could do that. But I get what you're saying, in regards to, there's not that much fun in sort of playing for the bar staff and the sound guy and the few friends that the other bands brought in. But that's kind of how it kind of has to happen before you can move on to the next level, if that is something that's on the bucket list or something.
But does it though? Because if you get even one song that really goes viral, you can have a career. Yeah,
that's true. But then everything would be to begin with anyway, would be built just around that song. I suppose in your case, having a fairly decent back catalog, you might be okay, but at the same time, like your back catalog is so diverse. So, if people pick up and they listen to, whoever gets me wins, and then the next song that comes out is Mistaken, it's like, hey, what the hell?
That's part of the fun though. Yeah, I love it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, but that's also again what gets you to be in the driver's seat, because you get to do whatever you want, because again, as you said before, you don't have a label, you don't have any pressure. You can put the songs out whenever it suits you and whenever you have time to do it as well. But again, like right now, you have this crazy focus on getting this opera out, and that's again no doubt going to happen. But imagine if you had sort of that same drive on saying right now, and might be next year, the year after, whenever or whenever you sort of finish this endeavor. What about if you said, I want to do a band, I want to just smash it, I want to go on world tour? And...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't be. I don't know if I would believe in it. Of the chances. I feel like with those ambitious projects I've been doing recently, like the operas, like, for example, I just feel they're different enough to make, so they make a statement. So there's always a very slim chance of succeeding in anything you do in the arts, but I feel like they have a bigger chance than just doing another band of people that are not that young anymore. This is actually, I don't want to be ageist, but it is a major factor. You're not in the current generation anymore. So it's different. It's a different game right now. So how many, young people would necessarily relate to the music you write and definitely to you as a person because you're older and your mentality is different, right? So I'm not saying that you can't succeed when you're older. You can, but I'm not sure that that's the path, and I just wouldn't have the drive because I wouldn't believe that there's actually a chance. With those things, it's still a very slim chance, but I believe, there's a chance though. I'm going to give it 120%,
Why is that? Why is that? Like, why is it that the opera has a bigger chance? Because again, like, I was about to say, I get what you're saying in regards to the audience, but at the same time, you can also play music that is minded towards an older audience. And no doubt, like operas would not be, probably very appealing to a teenager. So yeah, it's, I suppose again, there's several sort of aspects to the goal, you know what I mean? Or to the outcome. Yeah. But but it's curious to hear about sort of like that age factor, because I don't necessarily think there is a like an age cap on sort of either becoming a rock star or becoming like a touring musician or anything.
Well, let me ask you this: do you know of anyone that let's say is in our age group that started a band then and became big, like mainstream big or whatever?
None that I can probably think of, but at the same time, I don't know anyone either who's done an opera. You know what I mean? So but you do though. You don't realize it. If you think of household names like Andrew Lloyd Webber, and that's it. That's the only household name I know. Yeah, there you go.
No, but what's his name? I forgot his name. The guy that created Hamilton. I forgot his name now. Lin Miranda, I think is his name. So. We might not know his name as much, but I'm sure in the USA he is a household name. So you can, and that's the thing, in stuff like this, age doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how old Andrew Lloyd Webber is. It's about the show, not about him. You know what I mean? So his name gets, by association, you get famous. So, and that's why I feel it's not for lack of trying. Look, all my 20s, I spent pursuing the band route. So it's not as if I just gave up. But now I feel, okay, I moved to my 30s. It's a different phase. I'm just being realistic, and I'm not giving up. I'm just exploring new ways and new paths that I still feel are as viable, if not more, than just be continuing, to fight a losing battle in a way with the band. You know what I mean? Because it's the older you get, the farther you get from that generation group. It's just the harder it is. Maybe not impossible, but it's definitely harder to really win big. And I feel that when you do, the singles and the videos, you have a chance regardless of your age. Think about Dance Monkey, right? She could have been 40 and still be equally as famous now, because that song just exploded regardless of her. I mean, the song and the way that she sings is amazing, but I mean, her as a person was not even what made her famous at that point. It was just the fact that the song was so amazing and her voice had such a unique texture, right?
Right.
And she made a whole career over that. And now she's got a career with other songs and whatever. But so I'm saying if she would have been 35, 40, I reckon she would have the same amount of success, because no one would have judged that. It was just about the song. When that song hit the radio waves, it just exploded. Yep. So that's why I'm saying if you're doing videos and stuff like that, you can bypass that thing. And even if you're older, doesn't matter. You can still write a song that would strike a nerve with, teenagers or whatever, and you can go big. And with shows, it's the same thing, but I guess I'm thinking more about not necessarily, becoming famous as Kesh the artist. Maybe it would open doors for that, but it would be more about getting more acclaim as a songwriter and as a producer. So and imagine that then they go, oh, who wrote this? We want him, for that TV network, or for this show on Broadway as a music director, or even, whatever, Ariana Grande, write her a song,
Yeah.
So that would be equally as attractive to me to get into a bigger scene, and I'm all about just being creative. So of course, I'm not going to lie, like you asked me, if I could be on stage playing, that's the ultimate dream. I would take it for sure. If you ask me now, do you want to do sound engineer? Or do you want to be on stage? Do you want to do video? Or do you want to be on stage? Do you want to write an opera? Or do you want to be on stage? I would say stage. Take me to stage first. I'll go the rest later, But I get so much joy from the other things as well that, I would be still so much happy, especially if I get to the point where I can just do it all the time. That would just be amazing. And I think if you do get to that point, you can get back to stage. For example, Hans Zimmer, touring now with his band.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's because he got such a name. And Danny Elfman does the same thing. And it's like, you just go, there's different ways you can get there. And I think for me, now in my age group, and I guess my skill set as well, because I do love writing thematic music, I think that's the right path for me. And at the end of the day, you're either passionate about it or you're not. You can't fake it. So I'm passionate about it, so I can't stop. Literally after we're going to stop tonight, this feed, I'm going to go back and keep editing. So I can't stop. And that's the best, because it doesn't feel like work. I just want to do it. I really want to do it. And I only stop because I need to eat and I need to sleep.
Well, I suppose that really also defines passion. That it is something you're doing because you just can't stop it. Like you can't help it. So that I suppose again it brings me on to one of the other things that I'd love to talk to you about today is some of your cover songs, because again you've done quite a few of the covers on your YouTube page, which are covers but in a format that you wouldn't necessarily recognize the original song. Can you just try and sort of maybe I don't know if you can pick your brain or something, but how does some of those songs go from the original into the Keshet format? Because they obviously vary quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So first thing, let me explain to you the reason I used to do them, because I think Happy was the last one, and I'm not saying I won't do another cover again, but I certainly don't have any plans on doing covers at the moment.
Okay.
I found it's a great way to build a fan base, because everyone loves a good cover, because it's something they already know, so they're more inclined to check it out. And then if you blow their mind with the way that you interpret it, it's even better. Because and definitely when I had the fan base on YouTube back in the day, that was the bread and butter of that. Like that was how I got the fan base, by doing those. And it was great because, again, it made me feel a connection to the audience. It made me feel that people like that. But at some point, I started realizing I spent so much time on crafting those covers, because they take as much effort as an original song, to be honest. I said, I might as well just do the originals, because, again, I'm not getting paid for this. And I'm putting a lot of time into that. And even though it's fun, it could be even more fun doing my originals. So I sort of started phrasing the covers and moving to my originals. I still love the idea. And let's say even if I was like a proper recording artist, I would probably do a couple of covers per album, because I just have that knack of rearranging, and I think I love doing it, and I think it's fun for the listener. So yeah, when I take a song, usually I would think, how can I flip it? And there's really two main ways that it ends up being. Either it's completely changing the tone aspect. So let's say if it's heavy, make it a ballad. If it's a ballad, let's make it heavy.
Right.
So for example, we took Suck My Kiss, which is like this hard-driving rap song from Chili Peppers, right? Like this cool funk, and made it into this soft, somber ballad. And funnily enough, it started actually as a joke. I used to do it to piss off one of my drummers who was an avid Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. But then even he admitted, you know what, that actually sounds cool. And I was like, you know what, it does. Maybe we should develop this like into a full-blown blown cover, So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's the opposite. Maybe not such an opposite example, but let's say we've done 500 Miles, where it is a rock song, but it's not a very heavy rock song. And then we just took it like into proper punk and like thrashed it, So,
right. Yeah. Yep.
So the stuff like that. You remember from the Bogan Rock show, I wrote quite a few arrangements there for that.
Yeah, for sure.
That. But then I guess the second half of the covers that I would do would just be taking Middle Eastern themes into those Western songs, like Happy, so.
Whole lot of love.
Especially whole lot of love. Yeah, I think my last few covers I really started to understand that this is a really interesting area to explore, because A, it's fun. I like the way it sounds. But B, it's so interesting for Western listeners, because it's much less predictable for them, the way it's going to sound now. So I just saw the reactions, and I think it actually started. You know how it started? There's this band that we both playing on and off. Well, for me on and off, Easy Tigers, right? And we were touring, I think, in Kalgoorlie or something, and we actually played Whole Lot of Love. And I just started doing a Middle Eastern solo on the solo section, but just for fun, because when you play gig after gig, day after day, you just need to do stuff to keep yourself engaged, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And people just went crazy because they were drunk, and Ben, the singer, was like conducting them, into like this belly dancing mode, like a snake charmer. And when we finished, we just went like, wow, that was something else, man. That was, and I really didn't even think about it when I was doing it. And then I started doing it more often, because it was like, it was such a fun reaction from the audience. And very quickly, I just realized there's really something here, because I was never too much into that style in Israel. I was the alternative kid that just likes rock. I don't like this, I don't like the ethnic side, what we call pop. For us, it's pop, yeah. But,
okay.
For you guys, it would be the ethnic Middle Eastern sound. I was less about that, and I was always like the one that actually likes Nirvana, even though it's not in our language and it's not in our style, So I was always in the minority groups, that like the underground kids. So, but then when I moved here and I saw the effect it has on people, it suddenly made me realize, man, this music is really beautiful. And thankfully, even though I've never learned it, just growing up around it, you have this natural inclination of how it's supposed to sound. You can feel in your gut, if it's authentic or not, if that's the right phrasing. And then you end up I very quickly ended up playing it much better than people that might even listen to it and try to imitate it, but won't really get it because they didn't grow up with it, It's like the difference between, I would imagine, between someone growing up in Harlem trying to play the blues, that might have a bit more of an inclination if they heard it ever since they were a kid around them, It's just part of the culture.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you can't if you're not from Harlem. I'm just saying it would be easier. It would just be part of you, You hear it when you go to church. You hear it, it's around you. So it's the same thing for me growing up in Israel. I would hear it when I go on malls. I would hear it in the car and the radio. It just was part of life always. So there's a lot of like micro ideas that are in that music that I wouldn't even know how to explain, but I just know how they're supposed to sound. So I can at least search for them and pick them and put them. Obviously, major inspiration for the new opera, The Holocaust, which deals a lot with Middle Eastern fusion. But yeah, that's how I would go about this. So we've covered. So what did I would do? I would take the chords, and I would start thinking, what can we do different? So I would choose the path. If it's like changing the timing from 4/4 to 3/4, how would that sound? I would just try to play with the guitar, everything on 3/4. Maybe that's the trick to flip it. I would try, if it's like a heavy metal riff, to see what happens if I put this in a riff, in a chord form, or vice versa. If it's a chord song, can I make a riff out of it? Actually, you know what? I'll give you an example. Do you mind if I give you an example?
Sure, go for it.
Something unreleased. Okay? Hang on, I just realized that is an example. One of the last covers I arranged before I quit the beast. No, I didn't quit, but I just decided that, I can spend my energy elsewhere. Where do I have it? I have it here.
So is this some Middle Eastern stuff as well?
It is. But I don't think you've even heard it. But everyone that listen, and you as well, will get exactly the change. And that's, I think, the best way to explain it. I just hope that I still have... let me see this.
Exciting.
Yeah, this is... Okay, so you probably know the song Come Together by the Beatles?
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody who listens to rock music would probably know that song.
Great. So I was thinking about how can I make it Middle Eastern. Now, would you mind, I might take the headphones out so you can hear the computer?
Yeah.
We'll try that? Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, can you hear me?
Here we go, yep.
Okay, cool. So, original riff. Ooh, look at that. Original riff goes like this, right? Make it louder. Oh. There you go. There we go, okay. Right, that's the original riff.
Yep.
So my idea was, what happens if we start playing with Middle Eastern scales with that, and when I start playing with the notes, you get something like here you go. So I haven't played it in more than a year or 2 years. Yeah, so it was like really weird tones. Yeah, okay, I see why. Sorry, it's in a different key. So just so we can compare it, this is the original. Now it becomes like something like that. So when I start changing it, I noticed that I'm gravitating to this like offbeat rhythm.
Yeah, yeah.
Different. So it became something like this. I'll just show you here. It became so cool that I actually thought, this would be great as a vocal melody, even though it's not original. So actually, it's supposed to go like with nice, because we're doing the Middle East a lot of nice. So it's supposed to be like this. See, so it completely changes the song. It becomes almost a new song, but it is that, and we will go from that to, he comes on, blah 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 blah. With just like a more rhythm.
So did you ever finish that? Like, did you ever? Yeah, put the headset back in.
Yeah.
Did you ever get anyone to? I'll just wait till you put it back in here. So, all right. Yeah, there we go. You're back with us.
Yes.
Good. So did you ever finish that? Because that's that certainly does sound interesting.
I finished the arrangement. I've never recorded it.
Right.
But I've got the whole song is arranged, and yeah, it's good. I mean, there's some really nice moments. I think that
and you already pitched someone.
I did think maybe to use the guy that I used for Happy.
Oh yeah.
For this.
Yeah, he was amazing for that song.
Yeah. I really would love to meet more people. It's really hard, obviously, in Perth to find people that have that style. They have to come from the Middle East, you know. So I haven't met enough. But like I said, I just sort of phased out my covers and decided not to spend so much time and money on them, because producing the clips costs money. So it wasn't just that I'm not making money; it was that I'm actively spending money on stuff, you know, that doesn't give me money.
Yeah.
And it was fun when I started, because it was the joy of that's so cool. Let's see what we can create. It was equally. I felt I was equally excited as creating covers as originals. But later on, it became more like, oh man, I need now to write drums and I need to do all that stuff to do the cover. It's like, I don't even want to do it really, you know? So,
but I suppose, but I suppose, like you mentioned earlier, that you mainly created the covers to build your fan base, and then you started putting out originals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, did that cover fan base, did they ever sort of accept the switch?
I would like to say yes, but no. Look, definitely, whenever I release an original, apart from one that really exploded, was you could see that there's less views. You know, more like most of the people just won't bother checking it because it's not the name of a song they know. And I think because I just saw a decline on YouTube in general in terms of activity, regardless if I put a cover or not. That's where I started to feel as if, well, why am I even doing all this work for the covers? So if not many people are going to check it out, might at least let it be my song, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I think I haven't tested it with Facebook enough. No, actually I did. Hang on. So we've done Happy on Facebook. No, I think on Facebook, people seem to be accepting. Even if it's an original, they check it out. I feel like it was almost equal. So yeah. I mean, I don't regret it.
I suppose Facebook is probably also a bit more of a more versatile platform, because it's not just video based. You know, you have there'll be more people there, and probably much more different spread in age groups as well. I'm just thinking out loud here, but I suppose if you did sort of premiere at both platforms at the same time, I would assume probably Facebook would have a bigger reaction. Yeah,
there's more engagement.
Exactly. Yeah, engagement. I like it. There was one other question I just thought of before, but I think that might have slipped here. I suppose sort of just before we round off, and we're obviously going to finish off with Happy, which again is one of the really cool film clips in production scale here. But sort of where is Keshet in about 4 or 5 years from now? What do you think you'll be up to?
I have no. I don't have a 5-year plan. I wish I did. Look. Knowing me, I'll probably be creating a new show or whatever, because I don't think I can stop, no matter if I succeed or fail. It's like, doesn't matter. It always, you know, I always keep creating regardless. So, but I would like to hope that I'm doing bigger and better shows than, I mean, I'm already happy with the scale I'm doing them now, but if I can go even bigger, that's fantastic, you know? So, the ambition is always to go bigger and better. So yeah, I hope so. In fact, look, in 5 years, I really hope that I can get to the point where either we're touring or that my work just take me to all sorts of places, meaning that I'm not just Perth bound. I think Perth would always stay my home base, and hopefully if the audience likes it or likes me as an artist, they would always get the first sample of the shows. We always start them here. But the idea eventually is to go globally, and I would hope that I would get to a level of production that doesn't mean if it's my show or someone else's show, I just get to work on productions all over the place. Okay.
So would that be like a probably not a long-term goal, but like sort of in the next couple of years, like your goal would be to be able to travel around and collaborate more?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. For sure.
Awesome. And what about your originals? Is are we going to see you on stage anytime soon?
I hope so. Look, I'm probably going to be on stage for the whole cause. I would imagine so. If anything, just to save costs, you know, because then I don't need to pay myself.
Nice.
I'll probably look. I am playing sometimes in cover bands, and I am playing in musicals. Although usually the musicians are in a pit, so you might not actually see me performing, even though I'm playing there. But I hope that I'll get to stage. But let's say it's not the most pressing goal right now. So I'm more concerned in making the show successful than making me on stage successful. But the hope is that you get to the point where you can do both. You know, you can do the shows and you can be on stage and all that. But yeah, I don't want to do a band until I know there's a reason to do it, like that people actually want to hear it. And if they don't, that's fine. But, you know, then there's no point just working so hard if no one is actually interested.
Of course. So is it fair to say that at the moment, sort of like the Holocaust is your short-term business plan, or your business plan for like this year and maybe the next, in regards to sort of setting that up and potentially making some money from it?
Yeah, with shows like that, the hope is not to lose money. I'll be honest. Right. Yeah? Profit is a great luxury. It's a great luxury, and I definitely won't be adverse if we make profit. Fantastic. But it's not like that anyone that's involved in the show is not going to, anyone but the producers. So that in this stage, it's me. It might be a few more people in the future. But apart from the producers, everyone will get paid, you know, handsomely, fair wage for what they're doing, and that's great. So it's not like the people that are doing this need to volunteer their skills or anything like that. It's a gig. It's actually a better gig than your pub gigs, and that's all good. But as the guy that creates the show, you have more of motivation to see the show go to places than having immediate monetary gain. So you don't want, you know, for me, it's not about making money right now. It's about having a great season and maybe even a sold out season. Even if I put all the money that I could have earned into more advertisement to make that happen, doesn't matter. Because once you get that claim of a successful season, then new doors are open. Maybe then you can bring it over east. Maybe then you can bring it into the UK. Maybe you can bring it to the USA. And once you conquer those places, that's when you might start thinking about making money. You know, so you got to think about it as a long play. Yeah. And again, because I'm doing all of that while I work as a producer, regardless, then I always have the confidence of knowing I already make money. You know, and enough money. I make money, you know, and luckily again from the arts, which is why I'm never bitter about what I'm doing, you know, because I love doing my work as well. So that's where the pressure is in terms of where's the next paying gig. That's all. Yeah, you know, that's a different thing. And you know, I work on that as well, and always, you know, looking for the next big gig and so on. That's all good. That's happening. When I do those projects, though, the goal is not money. One day, hopefully it is, but first, it's just succeeding as a show. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, so 100%. Especially when you were sort of talking about, you know, if you can put up a good production here and have a good run, that would open doors to maybe go overseas. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, because that would ultimately be, you know, the next step.
Yeah. I think, but even then, you know, I'm assuming it's like when you do a band. Right, and when you go on your first tours, you know you're going to lose money. It's not about that. It's about starting making fans in other countries and stuff like that.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So you're not even thinking about how much money you're going to make. In fact, you're thinking how much money you're going to put into this, because it's going to cost you money to do the tour. Yeah. Right, but you know, it's a step, and hopefully, if the tour goes well, they call you again. Maybe next time there's already so much fans that you don't lose money. Still not making money, but you don't lose money, and maybe after that. You know, by that time, there are such avid fans actually buying all your merch and shit, and you are making some money. Yeah. You know, so it's sort of like this. So I feel even if we conquer Perth and then we go over east, or we go even abroad, then we would probably still not be making money, because it would still be conquering audiences and spending a lot of money on them getting to know about us in advertisement. But maybe after that, when you get, you know, off Broadway or something like that, that's when you start thinking, oh, there's actually now a chance to make money. Yeah. But it's so worth it, because, you know, if you get to that level, it's not just money from that show, it's possibly a career in that business. You know, it's like, for sure, you'll be able to do so many other shows, not even you writing shows, you know, maybe you can be the music director for that big show or so on. So, it's like, you know, we talked about it a bit last time. I've done the Demands. There was just one show, didn't make money, lost money on that. But then I became like a videographer for Jesus Christ Superstar and stuff like that. So doors open and you end up making money in different ways, not necessarily from the show.
Yeah. But I suppose also again, as an artist, like very few are doing it for the money. They're doing it for the love, for the passion of it. And then ultimately, if you can make money from it, that's excellent. That is
absolutely
a byproduct, I suppose, or a luxury, as I think you mentioned yourself. Awesome. Look, 2 questions are very, very easy one to answer, and one a bit more open-ended. The easy one, when is this show hopefully being brought to the public?
Well, I really don't have a firm date, but look, if we're doing the showcase in September, I would hope, but this is completely speculating now, because really it could be any number, but I would be over the moon if, let's say, about 6 months after that, if we can open for public. But that's just, something that I would love to do. It could take a year, it could take 3 months after. Maybe someone would go, no, this is the next production, 3 months, let's do it, And it could take 6 months, it could take more. So I think 6 months is realistic, but it could be that in the showcase we'll feel, it's a bit foolish. You're rushing it, slow down, there's more development to do, take some time, write some songs, change some scenes, so we don't know yet, so that's why we're doing the showcase, to understand better, because we don't want to, like when we did the Dements, we did the show and it was good, but then we learned it could be better. And then there was development that's been done to it later. And next time we're going to bring it to public, it's going to be much better because of the development. We're trying to do a preemptive strike here and just find out, is there any part where people lost focus and pulled out their phones? And you know what I mean? Like, what didn't work in the show? Let's already fix it before we actually bring it to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Well, I suppose brings me on to the next question then. That is just something, again, I think I might have asked you that last time as well, but it gives you the option to sort of broaden it out a little bit, is if you have any sort of tips and tricks, anything that sort of would be something that works well for you, something that is a good hands-on advice that you'd like to pass on to anybody else who might be lacking some of your incredible skills in time management and creativity. So have you got sort of anything that you can say this, if you do, these, you can bring up multiple options if you have more advice, but is there anything that you sort of would like to share that is a good genuine tip to pass on to another artist?
Okay, it is a broad question. Okay, one of the things, if I had to probably pick one tip, it's a weird one, but it's walks. Go on walks. That saved my life in more ways than one. Apart from the fact that you're active, because if you're like me and you're stuck in front of a screen all the time, it's not healthy to sit and being like that hunched over. But apart from that element, or the health element, I find it's the best way to get motivation. So I actually go on walks like a few times a day, every day, because it helps me break my cycle. So I don't get cabin fever, and I don't get, that feeling of I've just been like here editing for 5 hours. So probably every 3 hours or so I would go on a walk. And not a long walk. Yeah, it could be 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. But when I need to get creative it doesn't come naturally to me, but I feel like I want to write today. I want to, solve this thing, or think about an arrangement, or figure out what's the violin line. And for whatever reason, it doesn't even have to be something as big as writer's block. It just something that I don't know how to solve this right now. Usually what I would do, I would go on a walk and sort of tell myself, well, you're not coming back until you have some idea, even if it's not the whole solution. And when I'm on a walk, because I'm walking, it's not that comfortable to do stuff on the phone while you walk. So you actually are less inclined to get distracted by your phone. You know what I mean? Because I could just say, well, just sit on the couch until you figure it out. But what would happen, I will pull out my phone and I won't be thinking about this. So as I'm walking, it's like I've got nothing to think about now. I mean, I can put the music on, but I deliberately don't. I go without headphones if I need to think about stuff like this. So I can't put music. because I'm not going to be rude and blast music on my phone without headphones. Yeah. So, so I'm just walking, in circles around the block or whatever, or in a park. And I'm just thinking about it. And I just go, well, something has to come. And yeah, it always does. It always does. When your brain sort of is going, oh, I guess we're now in survival mode. I want to go back and do engaging things on the computer. It starts to come up with ideas really quickly. Sometimes it really surprised me. Like I would be there just 5 minutes into the work and I would be, that's what it is. Okay. Well, cool. So I'm going to turn back. So if it's something that I need to develop, yeah. And if it's with the music, like I said, let's say if I'm thinking about clip ideas. So yeah, I will take headphones, but then I'm just putting that one song in repeat. No shuffle list, nothing else. I'm just listening. This is my universe now. This is life. That song, that song and walking around the block. And that's how I would figure it out. So definitely, like when I was writing the opera, half of the opera I just wrote as I was walking, like, at least the first verse in my mind, and then coming back and continuing the song once I have it. And when I develop video clips, I do it even for clients sometimes, if I'm stuck for some reason. More often than not, I'm not, thankfully, because I'm doing it so much that I'm switched on about it. But it happens to me and it happens to everyone where you are blocked. So walks always help me. So that would probably be, I've got many tips, but I think if I need to pick one, that would be maybe the best thing that I've learned to do.
Dude, you're more than welcome to come up with another one. Because again, like, look, doing the whole thing where you sort of listen to the same thing over and over again. I know exactly what you mean. Like by the time you have that, you sort of like you almost absorb it, and you need to add the extra layer, and you sort of trying to think a little bit further there. But now if you have anything else, if you got another tip or anything, look, I'd love to hear it.
Well, the only other thing, I was talking about this with one of the singers the other day. Again, not when I'm in crunch mode. Right now I am in crunch mode. This is a bit of an unusual period, so I really don't have any life apart from doing this. But normally, I really keep, and it doesn't have to be the mornings. In my case, it's the mornings. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's important to make time in the day whenever you can, maybe after work, if not, or before work or whatever. But I sort of rearrange my life in a way where when I wake up, I have like 3-4 hours before I do any work, normally, when I'm not in crunch mode. And that's sort of for my well-being. And I do then, it's not really procrastinating, because I just decided for myself that in those hours, I might do some admin, answer messages, emails. If I'm teaching, I might review a couple of lesson stuff, but it's all very relaxed, with coffee or tea and just relaxing, not working on music, not arranging, not looking on charts, not thinking about videos, not editing, nothing of that sort. I might play video games. I would do exercise every day. It's like I know that I clock in, at 11 in the morning, and I usually wake up at 8. Sometimes I wake up at 7, right? Normally when I wake up before 11, normally, if I'm not in crunch mode, I won't look on anything that I need to do for work for that day. And I would just do either light admin work that doesn't really feel like work. It's just like, fun answering messages, or really fun stuff like playing video games or whatever. And I find that charges me so much because I know that once I'm going to switch, that's it. I'm not a procrastinator. So once I switch, I'm there until night. But because I had so much me time in the morning, I don't get begrudged about it. I'm not like, oh, what's the fucking time? When am I going to finish? It's not about that, because I find for me, because I already had the me time, I'm not seeking it. I'm not thinking, when am I going to get me time again? So what happens is, if I do get tired, and the other thing that I've learned over the years is, if I do get tired, I don't push myself as much anymore. I used to, but now I just see there's really no point, because then your work starts to not be good anyway. So sometimes I would get to 7 p.m. and maybe my eyes are tired because I've been, on the screen all day. Or maybe my back hurts because I've been sitting, maybe didn't take enough walks, whatever. But I would be like, I would start to feel a bit sour, and then I would stop and just go, like, I know you feel a bit guilty because you want to do more, but you're actually not doing service now to yourself or to the work that you're doing. You're doing like crappy work because you're half-assing it because you want to finish it because you're not in it. It would be so much. You would actually do it twice as fast when you're charged up. So then I do allow myself to sit and watch shows or whatever. But it's that freedom, the fact that I know that I'm allowed to do that, that makes me actually do it less, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
You know what I mean? It's because, you have the freedom, then you don't feel that constrained. You don't feel as if you have to do stuff. It's choice. So I've got a bit of an OCD, right? So I just made myself those little rules, like that morning well-being time, and that I'm allowed to clock out if I don't feel it. And I started doing that, let's say, over the last, 2-3 years. And it just completely changed my workflow. Like that's how I'm actually making way more than ever. And you know this, you know me personally. So it's just like, it's insane how much I achieve nowadays. But I actually work a bit less hours than I used to. Because I used to just all the time work, but then, just get to those waste of hours at nighttime where I'm completely exhausted. Now but just because there's actually a time constraint with the singers that I really want to give them recordings early. And I'm so pumped from this project that I'm not doing half-assed work. It's still quality work. So, because I'm not feeling at night that I'm tired and I want to stop. Like now, after we're finished, I told you already, I can't wait. I can't wait to go back. I want to hit the next song. I want to see how it sounds once I put reverb on the vocals, and I'm genuinely excited. So now it's a different ball game, but I know it's just a couple of weeks. And then I'm going to go back to my mentality of, every morning, let's do the well-being time. And for me, it works fantastically. That's my tip.
Mate, again, like same as last time, man. It's been very inspirational, and to hear about your crazy systematic workflows and again and sort of what you can achieve just from having that sensationally creative mindset, man.
Thank you, mate. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, and likewise. So look, let's try and finish it off here, so you can come back and put some reverb on the vocals, man.
Okay, no worries.
We are gonna finish off. So, but again, thanks for the last. We've been talking for about 2 hours now. So thanks so much for taking that out of your busy schedule. Yeah, man. we started about 2 hours ago. It's 10:30, so you still got a couple of hours ahead of you.
My phone is showing the wrong hour for some reason. Okay, cool. That's weird.
Well, this means you gotta go to bed a little bit later, I suppose. But just as we run off. So as I said earlier, so we're gonna finish off on the video for Happy. Do you just quickly just give us a little story about how the video shoot come along? Because obviously people know the song. We've had a chat about how you made it your own, doing it in this Middle Eastern theme. But the actual video shoot is really cool. It's got this really feel good vibe to it. So if you just quickly just wanna just tell us how that shoot came about and how you got the idea for it.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, I like all the clips, it's an example of making a visual statement along with the clip. And the idea for the visual statement, when we were listening back to the song after it was mixed, because only after I finished mixing, I switched modes and start thinking visually. The first thing that came to me, I was telling Kazan, the singer, that it feels like, like as if we are like this band of gypsies, and after you work at home, you work all day, you just come back, and that's the music you will play after hours. Like that's how I imagined this. And he was like, yeah, man. And I mean, for us, it actually was the case, because we were doing those recordings after work. So Kazan works, in a day job and stuff like this. So he definitely felt that vibe. And we were playing with all sorts of ideas of, maybe it should just be us playing like in a yard, or, like have like a yard with a couch or something. We were thinking all sorts of things at some point, but we were saying we need to find a place that has a gypsy vibe. That would, I told him, I think for this clip, the visual gag, because I call them like gags, like it's like, let's say that the stop motion animation on the face was a gag, a visual gag. So I think here, what it would, if we can just find one idea that would make the clip, it would work. And I thought, normally I don't like clips where we just play, but here it would work if the location would be the gag. We got to find a location that would be iconic, that's it. We don't need even to embellish it more than that. If we can find somewhere that would just be, you want to see it. You want to see the location. And we were actually stuck for a while. I think we got even frustrated because we were looking all sort of places. We did like shout outs on Facebook, and people suggested their places, and it wasn't gypsy. And then Kazan was actually the one he remembered there's actually a real hippie commune just south of Fremantle that actually live off the land, and like completely off the grid. And they have this amazing facility, but then they have like this place where they hang out, like this little bar just for them, after they work, in their farms and stuff like this. And some people go there because they give like, free soup and stuff for the pool and stuff like that. So there's a bit of like, even people that are not in the commune come and visit them, and sometimes they've got music. And Kazan, I guess, went there at some point, to hang out. So he told me about this place. We went to check it out. And again, I came with my winning personality to the person that runs the place. And I told him, look, man, we've got this clip, and, we're not making any money off it. It's purely for fun. Because we're not, we released it for free. Even the song is free for download if you want it, like there's no money here. And told him, I think, because we saw the place, and the place had just such a vibe. Like you can't, it looks, when you see the clip, it looks as if we decorated it. No, we didn't touch the place at all. 100% what you see, it's how the place was ready for us to just come and shoot. We didn't add anything apart from lights for the video, strong lights, but the actual the lanterns and stuff, that's all in there. So I told him, I think your place would really give us the vibe we need. And, we literally doing the song Happy. It's about spreading happiness. And he got so enthused about, I showed him like the song, the recording, and he was like, man, do it for free. Just take the place, tell us what we need. Like I told him, what would be, I'm going to be cheeky, but what's going to be really cool? If you reckon the people from your commune, if there would be our extras, like as if it's like us playing with a party, because that's like the concept. I thought I can bring people, but I just think they would already be dressed the way we would want to, and there would just be the right vibe.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And he was like, heck yeah, wow, they would love it. I told him, look, I'll do this. I'm going to bring some food. I'll bring drinks. My shout. To anyone from your community that want to come, and we'll just have a party. But all they need to endure is the fact that for like 2 hours, we're going to play the same song over and over as we shoot this, because that's how it goes. And then, we came, and there was another good mate of ours, Danny Passion Fruit, him. He was hanging there, because of course he is, because he's fucking everywhere. And it was funny because they were a bit shy about maybe coming to the clip. They were there, but they were like, wouldn't come into the bar really. And then he rallied them. So I think without him, I don't know if we would have had the same clip, to be honest, because he really like pushed them and was like, no, guys, let's go in and do it. Come on, it's going to be fun. And,
awesome,
then,
man.
We did
That's
it.
A good story.
Kazan brought a friend that did some belly dancing. Jasmine is her name. Is it? Yeah. Sorry. And we had Rami playing bass, my brother. We had Ridvan on percussion. And obviously, I hired another videographer, a good mate of mine, Pedro, that does a lot of productions with me, because I knew he would get the vibe I want. And you'll see in that clip, like, there's like vintage cameras and stuff, like some of the shots look like vintage on purpose. So it was, just to give that vibe, and we used a lot of fisheye, so you can really get the sense of like the weird space, because it is a weird space, but in a good way, the good way of weird, And I really feel like when you see that clip, you get that vibe of, it's just people having fun, like how you would imagine gypsies hanging out.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is, I don't think you would have never felt this without the location, because without the location, not only would you not have the visuals around us, you wouldn't have the people. So it worked out so well. The whole clip came from the location. There's really no other concept beyond, let's find a cool location. It's amazing how when you figure out something that can make the clip pop, that's all you need. It's like when we did Whoever Gets Me, and it's like, let's make a different costume move.
Yeah.
Such a simple concept, but then it makes the clip.
But it works, Fantastic. Fantastic. Keshet, man, again, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best with the we wish you all the best with the Holocaust. By the way, where can people find out a bit more about that? Is there a website or?
Yeah, well, not a website, but we're on social media. So if they search the Holocaust on Facebook and Instagram, they'll find us on Facebook. I'm pretty sure the Holocaust would be the first the first option. In Instagram, I think we are the.holocaust, if I remember correctly. But they can find us, and we are actually uploading like on the next days. They'll see behind the scenes footage of the singers recording, and there's some really interesting. Like they are working so hard. The notes that they are forced to sing are insane. So it's very entertaining to watch because it's next level.
Fantastic. So that was the Holocaust on Facebook, where people can check some of that stuff out. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Keshet. I'm going to put on Happy now, and I'll let you get back to your composing and adding reverb to some vocals.
Okay, cool, mate.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon, mate. Bye.
Yeah, cool. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in or listening along to the show. If you like the show, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to my social channels. It doesn't cost you anything, but it greatly helps me to build my networks and my chances of getting sponsors to keep this show running. If you want to take it to the next level, please head over to patreon.com/Stephen Helhammer and become a patron by joining the exclusive community there. You can start from as little as $3 per month. And for just a little extra, you get access to some fantastic features, outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, and much, much more. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. And that way you can help me build better content. I can devote more time to find awesome guests and just generally just keep everything flowing. If you want to be on the show or subscribe to my mailing list, send an email to steven@helhammer.com, and that is HELhammer.com. That way I can start sending you exclusive invites, random stuff, and messages that, who knows, you might enjoy. So that's it. Have a rocking day ahead, guys, and I will see you on the live stream or in your headphones very soon. Take it easy.